The story begins and the young woman was the only one to stand her ground against them, even though he fled at the time. However, he forgot to ask the lady her name. But after the young woman inquired as to whether Cha Moo-hyuk was in the same year as her and received his affirmative response, the two decided to use a large tree as a reference point, with each of them choosing the west and east sides, respectively. They both departed for their individual paths because they were both there for the same purpose. Cha Moo-hyuk was concerned, though, because the appearance of another person forced him to remain vigilant, making the hunt very difficult for him. He reasoned that given the lady's abilities, she ought to have been noticed by a nice place whether she was or wasn't, but he quickly dismissed the idea after realizing he had been thinking a lot about the young woman. The young woman suddenly appeared as she watched Cha Moo-hyuk swallow a goblin's core. At that point, he came across a goblin, which he easily killed with a single strike. The young woman had a repulsive expression on her face as she claimed that Cha Moo-hyuk had eaten a goblin's heart and had become a psychotic bastard. Cha Moo-hyuk tried to defend himself, but the lady cut him off and said she could see the goblin's heart in his hand, which he immediately threw away. The lady pulled out a dagger and said she couldn't let a psychopath like him live, but Cha Moo-hyuk said that she should hear his story first before they fight, that he housed a teacher who was not able to move on his own, and in order to make ends meet he had to eat monster's heart to survive. Cha Moo-hyuk continued that it's difficult to survive in Hellish, and so he had to do whatever it takes to survive, including eating the monster's heart, and that if the lady wants to fight him then he would comply her. However, the lady said that even though she doesn't believe him, she will overlook at the moment since she was exhausted from the hunt. She also advised Cha Moo-hyuk to keep his distance from her because she wasn't sure what she would do if she ran into him again. She left by wishing him a long and healthy life. When the woman walked away, Cha Moo-hyuk inhaled deeply, knowing that he had succeeded in getting away with his fabrication and that he needed to exercise caution in the future. Later, Cha Moo-hyuk was seen walking out of the Mahdi village Great Square Central Tower, while inspecting the slowpoke buffalo leather armor he had just purchased for points, bringing his remaining points to points, with points more allowing him to obtain the skill ring he desired, and that because he had grown accustomed to hunting in the Brilliant Forest, he should be able to gain enough with the remaining 4 days. As he returned to the Brilliant Forest, he noticed the lady waiting for him at the entrance, saying that she was only waiting for him to arrive so that they could split up where they would hunt, and she would take the forest's north side, while Cha Moo-hyuk would take the forest's west side. Cha Moo-hyuk then asked the lady to exchange their names, which she refused. Cha Moo-hyuk was puzzled as to why the lady couldn't trust him after 3 days of hunting in the same forest, and he remembered his teacher's advice about not trusting people. He then took out his cigarette to smoke, and when he heard someone approaching, he quickly hid behind a tree. Not long after, 2 men walked into the area, and Cha Moo-hyuk was surprised, thinking that perhaps those men did not participate in the forced hunt. 2 men, both 13th rounders like Cha Moo-hyuk, were seen discussing how they intend to steal points from the young lady. Cha Moo-hyuk, on the other hand, followed them as they made their way to the young lady's location. He reasoned that he should be able to kill one of them with a sneak attack and asked the lady to help him kill the other. He was perplexed as to how he was able to think of killing, possibly as a result of the hunting he had been doing, particularly the battle with Karakra. After a while, the 2 men were seen hiding, preparing to attack the young lady who was fighting a giant ant monster when she relaxed. However, Cha Moo-hyuk has already arrived behind them, watching how the 2 men planned to attack the young lady, as the 2 men split up in order to corner the lady. The lady was seen attacking the giant ant monster, which she eventually killed as she tried to extract the monster's materials. At that moment, Cha Moo-hyuk yelled out to the young lady to notify her of the incoming attacks as he dashed to the other man with his activated jeweled lizard camouflage, which boosted his stamina and agility. When the other man saw this, he charged at Cha Moo-hyuk while the big chin man charged at the girl who was struck by the projectiles. Cha Moo-hyuk didn't feel the kick, which may have been because of his armor or the stamina boost he had, but he nevertheless punched the other man, knocking him out cold. Cha Moo-hyuk then went over to the young woman to assist her, but the big-chinned man was a kickboxer because he was able to overwhelm her with a powerful punch, which she was unable to avoid because of her injuries from the projectiles, which caused her to be blown away. Cha Moo-hyuk struck his punch at the big-chinned man who guarded it with his arms raised at his face. Then he asked Cha Moo-hyuk what he had done to his friend, to which Cha Moo-hyuk replied that maybe he should punch a hole in his face as well. The big-chinned man threw a barrage of punches at Cha Moo-hyuk, who was surprised by how heavy the punch was, implying that the big-chinned man is a marauder. Then the big-chinned man threw a punch at Cha Moo-hyuk's stomach, which felt hit despite the armor, or in the improved stamina, but he refused to go down as he stood his ground against the big-chinned man, and he asked the big-chinned man if he had planned to kill him and the young lady, to which the big-chinned man laughed out as he said that was why he sneaked on them in the first place. The big-chinned man grabbed Cha Moo-hyuk's hair, then Cha Moo-hyuk bumped the big-chinned man's stomach with his fist as he asked the man again if he wanted to kill them, to which the man replied affirmatively, and after hearing this, Cha Moo-hyuk released the Karakras, claws into the big-chinned man's chest, killing him in the process. Cha Moo-hyuk thought he had killed a person and didn't feel anything because it was just like killing goblins. The young lady walked over as she thanked Cha Moo-hyuk for saving her, who replied that he didn't hear what she said, who became angry but still thanked him once more and also owed him a favor, to which Cha Moo-hyuk continued taunting the young lady as though he didn't hear her very well. Hearing this, the young lady became enraged as she grabbed Cha Moo-hyuk's collar. At that moment the other man who was knocked Cha Moo-hyuk and the young lady both noticed the other man. When Cha Moo-hyuk asked the young woman why she killed the man, she said that she was repaying him for what he had done to her. She also said that Cha Moo-hyuk also killed the big-chinned man, but Cha Moo-hyuk claimed that was different. However, the young woman claimed that Cha Moo-hyuk didn't bother to stop her when she killed the man. Cha Moo-hyuk was seen performing a mark harvest on the dead men, allowing him to temporarily take their points and permanently keep their points at the tower. Following this, the young lady asked him to assist her because it was difficult for her to walk on her own due to her injured leg, which he did. As they were on their way, he said he could have returned to hunt after being healed, but his time had been wasted by those men, which the lady then said is why she let him take all the points, to which Cha Moo-hyuk replied it wasn't about that. The lady then goes on to say that if it hadn't been for the ambush, she would have defeated them head on. After a while, Cha Moo-hyuk asked if the lady got a good scout offer because of her skill, to which she replied that she was indeed scouted by Thesic's Poles but she later left, to which she replied that she doesn't want to say anything about it. When they arrived at the Mahdi village Great Square Central Tower in the evening, Cha Moo-hyuk complained about how difficult it is to support someone walking, to which she shoved him away, saying she's fine and she can walk into the tower by herself, which stunned Cha Moo-hyuk. With her abrupt attitude, the lady then introduced herself as An Soyoung. Then Cha Moo-hyuk told An Soyoung his name, and after hearing this, An Soyoung smiled as she bid him farewell. When Cha Moo-hyuk saw An Soyoung's smile, his face flushed slightly. At that moment, Demon Krusta flew over and tapped Cha Moo-hyuk, who was lost in thought, but he quickly recovered as he asked the demon to heal him for points, after which he told Demon Krusta about the Mark Harvest, which surprised her as she told Cha Moo-hyuk that the best way to gain points is to do reaving and murder, to which Cha Moo-hyuk replied that he only saw the two men kill each other. Looked to see if An Soyoung had returned. He then proceeded to check his point stats as he was able to gain points from dead men, totaling up to points in his possession. Seeing this, he thought he could get a much higher skill. Then he looked up at the tall tower, thinking to himself that one day he would defeat all of the demons who had dragged him to Hellushan. The giant toad monster was attacked by Cha Moo-hyuk in the Brilliant Forest, and he used his Karakra's claws to kill it. Cha Moo-hyuk used a special skill called Rush of the Fearful Baroque, which doubles all of his stats for 5 minutes with the exception of magic power. With this skill, Cha Moo-hyuk was able to hunt the monsters in the forest just like he did with goblins. A short while later, Cha Moo-hyuk was seen engaging in combat with the giant golem. However, as he charged at the golem, the effects of Rush of Fearful Baroque had already worn off. Realizing that this skill's drawback is that it has a short active time and that its effects wearing off are surprisingly noticeable, Cha Moo-hyuk decided that he needed to get used to the feeling and gain an understanding of how long this skill lasts. He realized that the longer cooldown time was a result of his low magic power as he continued to battle the giant golem, and that if his magic power increased, the skill would become more potent and the cooldown time would shorten. He realized he needed to determine the length of the cooldown time as he cut off the giant golem's head because there are indicators, one of which is a headache, that indicate when the headache has passed, he can use the ability once more. Although it seems long, the cooldown on the giant golem's crystal is currently 20 minutes, and it will be around 40 minutes if he can use camouflage. He put the crystal into his bag after realizing this because he believed the skill would be useful for the upcoming trials. He made his way to the Mahdi village's Great Square Central Tower after exiting the forest. As he approached the building's entrance, he noticed that the 13th rounders had left. Realizing that the forced hunt was over, he reasoned that he could only return to hunting Koilos, as he decided to be content with what he had obtained, as he wanted to enter to sell the materials. Byung-chul called out to him as he approached, and he asked why Cha Moo-hyuk hadn't come for the forced hunt. Cha Moo-hyuk replied that he doesn't feel like it. Byung-chul then told him that there's another forced hunt in the following month. Cha Moo-hyuk should be prepared to follow him or get killed by him. Byung-chul left at that time after hearing a man call out to him that they were about to leave. Cha Moo-hyuk questioned Byung-chul's odd behavior and assumed that Byung-chul had committed murder, something he had also done. 4 weeks later, a variety of food was on the table as Cha Moo-hyuk sat his teacher down to eat. When Jiangmin asked how the food was obtained, Cha Moo-hyuk responded that he was making enough money to make a good meal for them when he went out earlier that day to buy some equipment he would need for the upcoming forced hunt. When Jiangmin heard this, he was shocked by how quickly time had passed. There were only 3 days left before the forced hunt began, and he warned Cha Moo-hyuk to be extremely cautious when it began. After all, Cha Moo-hyuk ought to have known why Byung-chul kept pressuring him to take part in the forced hunt. Cha Moo-hyuk responded that he knew his teacher had good intentions when Jongman said that he must change from being a good person to one who can survive the forced hunt. They then began to eat. The following day, Cha Moo-hyuk and the other 13th rounders were spotted approaching the location of the forced hunt. As they arrived at the site of the forced hunt, Cha Moo-hyuk, On Soyoung, and other 13th rounders were all visible. Shortly after they gathered, a winged demon known as Karu, who is also the Mounties hunting enforcer, appeared before them and welcomed everyone. At that point, Byung-chul yelled at the demon to get to the point, and the demon then led the 13th rounders to the hunting ground. The suddenness with which the location appeared astounded Cha Moo-hyuk and the others. Demon Karu continued by saying that the challengers had successfully completed the hunt if they had made it to the 5th floor of the tower. The 5th floor of the tower would only be accessible on the 10th day, and no one could ascend there earlier or later. Additionally, anyone who failed to reach the 5th floor on that precise day would vanish along with the tower for all time.
That's it for today. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.